Hey everyone, I'm Majin and welcome into this week's World Tour Weekly, your one-stop shop for all competitive Flesh and Blood news. It's an exciting time to be a Flesh and Blood player with the world premiere this last weekend, pre-releases this weekend, and national season on the horizon. Today we're going to go over the Taipei World Premiere event, some exciting stuff from spoiler season, High Seas Limited, and what I expect for US Nationals. Let's get into it. If you're anything like me, then you may have also completely destroyed your sleep schedule in order to stay up and watch the Taipei livestream. I was a little bit too excited to see the High Seas cards in action for the very first time, so I stayed up all night, basically every night, just to watch the stream live. It was a pretty action-packed event, with the full set being revealed, showcasing some really exciting cards, and an entire weekend of maybe the most exciting limited set ever. Speaking of the limited format, I was super impressed with the nuance that Treasure Island seems to add to games. It effectively gives every attack an additional on-hit, which can then be turned into advantage by either cracking the gold to draw cards or using your hero's ability. But it's not quite that simple. The set also have a cycle of mutiny cards that steal gold from your opponent as long as you control less than them. If you do steal gold in this way, they also have another beneficial effect. So not only are you fighting over controlling Treasure Island and making sure that you get the gold you need to keep your engine humming, but you also have to be wary of having too much gold and allowing your opponent to take advantage of it using a mutiny card or one of the gold hunter cycle. I am incredibly excited to try out the format in my own pre-releases. I signed up for one Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's enough about my weekend plans. Let's move on to today's weekend winners. The Calling was such an exciting event. I highly recommend going back and checking out the VOD if you have time. After 2 full days of swashbuckling fun, the first being sealed and the second being draft, Evan Tanguy won the Calling Taipei, drafting a pretty strong Gravy Bones deck in top 8. The final heroes for the top 8 draft were 3 Gravy Bones, 3 Marlin, and 2 Puffin. The Battle Hardened was also High Seas Limited and was taken down by Spencer Horton on Marlin. Many people might not know it, but there was actually a third winner over the weekend. During coverage, James White and Brian Gottlieb gave DM Armada a 1-of-1 Marvel Gravy Bones with the name Cookus, captain of the DM Armada on it. I think that's definitely cool enough to qualify him as a winner. Again, massive congratulations to Evan Tanguy and Spencer Horton. I know firsthand that it is not easy to succeed in a brand new limited format. Okay, now that we've talked a bit about the event, I want to talk more about High Seas as a whole. There were some pretty surprising things that were kept completely hidden from us until packs were actually cracked for the first time. The main thing that shocked me was Scurv Stowaway, a pirate thief young hero and his trusty companion Sticky Fingers that was kept completely hidden from us until it was actually opened on the stream. He is playable in the limited format, but unlike other heroes up till this point, you actually have to open him in the packs in order to play him. It's a bit like he's stowed away in the booster packs and you have to try to find him. Even if you do find him, it's a pretty big decision to actually commit and play him. He's in a really unique position gameplay-wise because he's just a pirate thief. He's not a necromancer, ranger, or mech. Since he doesn't share any of the same secondary classes, that means he can only play generic or pirate cards from the set. While that is quite the drawback, he has a really powerful hero effect, and a couple cards in the set give you a beneficial effect if you're a thief. Now, with this set, there's a lot of moving pieces, and losing track of any of them can be absolutely devastating. To showcase that, let's take a look at today's Play of the Week.
Definitely active, that one, I think.
Oh yeah, 4 Gogen and 2 cogs at the ready. So Paul says this is the spot where I should go ahead and take the damage. I will fall to 9. I'll give Shoma a gold here. Puffin is tapped, so won't be able to convert that right away if he has good knowledge of the pitch deck. But he's got the big Majestic coming in out of Arsenal. It's going to come in for 6 here. It's the Planeteer Aeronaut into cogs.
Yeah, Paul just needs to survive. He needs to get through Shoma's cards and needs to proactively probably take... The problem is, I think Paul needs to proactively be able to take a card next turn.
But Paul...
Has Paul missed the
Paul is in trouble here. This goes to 8. Unicycle, untaps cog. Taps again. Goes to 9. Destroys defending card. Destroys that card.
Oh.
And Paul is going to take a read. And
Paul's been gone, I think.
Paul
Oh my
missed
goodness.
it. He missed it on the Planeteer Aeronaut, and Shoma Yamamura leverages the powerful Majestic to go ahead and take down a match that maybe he had no business winning whatsoever.
Yeah.
Did you spot the lethal? After looking through the set a bit, I absolutely know that this will not be the last time someone gets got by a cool onboard play that they missed. Speaking of cool things, let's talk a bit more about the cards that were revealed and specifically what they could mean for Classic Constructed. We got a new cycle of cards that work really well with Nimblism, specifically NIMBY. It kind of gives me like a belittle Minnowism vibe, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it in Classic Constructed. Also revealed was the Amulet Cycle, a series of items that are legendary, have the Watery Grave keyword, and have an ability similar to items that we currently already have in the game. For some of these effects, it means that you could possibly run a fourth type of that kind of item. For example, Kano can now run Ruby Amulet as sort of a fourth energy potion. I am absolutely going to play Sapphire Amulet in Kano at least once before he hits Living Legend. Speaking of Kano, LSS gave Wizard haters some serious ammunition in the form of Arcane Compliance. Being able to stop the pump from a Wildfire or a Volzar could completely flip a game on its head. Things aren't all bad for our Arcane aficionados, as not only do they get the previously revealed Burn Bear, but Acilio players also get everything they could ever ask for and more with Consign to Cosmos Shock. This card has some sort of text on the left side, I don't know. But it's a zero-cost shock. A yellow zero-cost shock that has no other text would already be a slam dunk 3 of an Acilio. But this one also blocks 3. This is absolutely massive for the Lightning Wizard, as sometimes he struggles to cast a shock at the end of his turns because he doesn't want to pitch very often. Now, he doesn't have to. And if it isn't the right time to shock, you can always just block or cycle it away with Acilio's hero ability. While not technically a wizard card, Everbloom Life is definitely going to see play in a wizard deck. This is obviously the card that we were warned about being a little too powerful with Germinate, and I can totally see why. The ability to gain life and also recur Germinates in the late game is probably a bit too powerful. It also adds a lot more consistency to the Decomposed decks because it's another blue Earth block 3. The Fabled of this set was revealed to be Riches of Tropoldani, a yellow generic resource gem that says when pitched, create a gold. I want to reiterate that this is generic and any hero can play it. This means that Victor can pitch this to crack a gold, generating another gold, and therefore drawing 2 cards. Is that good enough to justify putting a yellow no block in your deck? I have no idea, but it's really cool. Let's pivot back to Limited for a second before we start talking about the possible Nationals meta. Since pre-releases this weekend and I watched the entirety of the calling, I wanted to highlight 3 cards that looked like they overperformed and 3 cards that looked like they underperformed. Let's start with the underperformers. Number 1 is basically any 2-card 6-power attack with no additional text. Normally 2 resource 6-power attacks are kind of like the bread and butter of Limited. It's inherently on raid, threatens a decent amount of damage, and can even be played off a yellow. The problem with it is that if that's all you do, you take up Treasure Island and present an easily blocked threat. Now, when your opponent attacks you with a breakpoint, you either have to give them at least 2 gold or use a lot of your resources to block. Now, not all 2-cost 6-power cards are built the same, as we'll go into a little bit more in the overperformer section. Number 2 is Spitfire. It seemed like a lot of players decided that Cogworks Blunderbuss was the best Mechanologist weapon to play pretty much from the start. I can easily see why. The Go Again ability on Blunderbuss allows you to go wide in a way that Spitfire really can't. Also, if your opponent's going to block with a 3-block anyway, the additional effect on Spitfire doesn't really do anything for you. I'm interested to see if weapon choice is something that changes as the set matures and players get a little bit more used to playing it. My guess is that each weapon will definitely have its purpose. Number 3 is some of the allies, like Shelly. Now this one's going to require a bit more explaining than the others. I'm not saying allies are not good. A lot of them are very powerful and can absolutely win a game for you. But I was under the incorrect assumption before watching the calling that you absolutely needed an allies focused deck in order for Gravy Bones to be good. After watching the event, it seems like you can absolutely draft an ally centric deck, but you don't have to. Some of the strongest plays I saw from Gravy Bones decks over the weekend didn't actually involve an ally at all, or it only used them as discard fodder to power other cards. Okay, now for the fun stuff, the overperformers. Number 1 on this list is easily the Mutiny cards, and specifically Mutiny on the Battalion Bark. I didn't think much of these cards at all at first, thinking that I would probably want any blue block 3 over them. Oh boy, was I wrong. Stealing a gold from your opponent and getting a beneficial effect on top of that can easily swing a game. It can also turn letting your opponent have gold from Treasure Island from a bad thing into possibly a good thing for you. Make sure you keep an eye out for these. Number 2 is Swiftwater Sloop, specifically the red and the blue. Remember when I said that not all 2-cost 6-power attacks are built the same? This is one of the ones that I was talking about. I saw this card overperform so many times over the weekend, and since it's a pirate card, it can be used in any of the decks. I wouldn't be surprised to see this card become a highly contested pick and draft. Alright, number 3, and my vote for most impactful card in an archetype is Unicycle. This card already looks good at first glance, which should go to show you just how powerful it is for me to still list it as an overperformer. The 1 block value is obviously impactful, but being able to untap a cog just unlocks so many plays in the Puffin decks. The Mechanologist strategies require you to tap cogs for a lot of additional effects, and sometimes having an extra cog to tap can turn your medium turn into a very powerful turn. If you don't believe me, just go back and watch our play of the week. Now, this is all from me just watching the format be played. It's very likely that my opinion will change after I actually get my hands on the set this weekend. Alright, enough about limited, let's talk constructed. The next big constructed event is the US Nationals Tournament in Vegas on June 6th. For today's metagame minute, let's do a small bit of speculating on what the meta might look like. We left off with Florian being the undisputed top dog of the meta. He has gotten hits since then with Germinate and Scepter of Pain being banned, but I still expect him to be one of the top decks for the tournament. He got a new toy in the form of Everbloom Life, and with power cards like Felling of the Crown, Arcane Seeds Life, and literally every single piece of equipment he plays, it's hard for him to be anything worse than solid. It could even be that some of his bad matchups like Syndra aren't played as much because you don't have to bring a deck that must beat Florian. My guess is that he's a top 3 most represented hero in the tournament, even after the bans. Azalea's star has been rising over the PQ season, and with a couple new Ranger tools from High Seas, I expect this to be a pretty good tournament for her. I predict that she'll be in the top 3 decks as far as conversion rate's concerned. Wizards are in an interesting spot. Theoretically, this may be one of the best spots that the Wizard class has ever been. You have 3 separate Wizards to choose from, and they're all in a pretty good spot for the meta. However, there's a caveat. Arcane Compliance could really throw a wrench in the plans of any wizard looking to pump up spells, which is all of them. I could definitely see Verdance moving away from the Surge and Aethertide plan because it can't really deal with Arcane Compliance. Kano and Acilio are a little bit more at the mercy of the card. Although, if you bring it in against Acilio, you run the risk of drawing a no block while they cast Gone in a Flash 27 times, or pump a shock high enough to kill God. My guess is that Kano does the best out of the wizards, with a small amount of Acilios doing pretty well in Classic Constructed. My bet is that none of them actually win the event because they'd have to overcome Wizards' #1 weakness in order to do so: drafting. As far as the new heroes go, I have my doubts that players will be able to crack the Gravy Bones puzzle in time for the tournament. The deck is very hard to build, and a week isn't a lot of time when you also have to prepare for draft. My guess is that Marlin and Puffin do well, but not exceptionally so, with 1 copy of a High Seas hero making it into top 8. What do you think? Is there a hero I'm undervaluing? Do I think Wizard is better than it actually is? Let me know in the comments. Except for that last one. I don't want to hear that. Don't forget to sign up for your local pre-releases. Thank you for watching. I'm Majin, and I'll see you next time on World Tour Weekly.